Hi, this is Dr. B with your Emotional Minutes. Now, today we're talking about depression. And sometimes people will ask, hey, how do I know if I'm depressed? Like, what is depression even? And really, you can know if you're depressed by a couple of key things. Oftentimes, when we talk about depression, at least from a diagnostic standpoint, so like if a doctor or a psychologist or a therapist is going to diagnose someone with depression, there's really a few key things we look at up front, like at the very beginning. And typically, what we look at is, are you experiencing really just kind of low mood, like down, like feeling down, or what they call feeling blue? And the second symptom that we look at is related to that, but it's really when you're it's what we call anhedonia, and that's just a fancy word for really kind of experiencing a lack of interest or pleasure in things that maybe you've enjoyed in your life at times, and maybe things that give you a sense of meaning aren't giving that same sense of enjoyment or meaning or purpose. So these are key indicators here, and other things that can be very sort of apparent are things like lack of sleep and sleep problems, or maybe too much sleep can also signal depression. Now, sleep problems might signal other conditions as well, but that's just something that people sometimes notice pretty clearly and readily. And then also one thing people tend to sort of notice are things centered around how they're talking to themselves. A lot of times people might be very critical of themselves or telling themselves that they're a failure a lot. And those are a few key symptoms as well. In addition to these symptoms, you'll notice there on this list that a sense of wanting to not be alive is also on there, and that can be an intense symptom for people. And sometimes that comes in the form of thinking that you'd be better off dead, but not necessarily wanting to harm yourself. And sometimes that does come in the form of actually wanting to do things like commit suicide. And if you're having any feelings like that, I definitely recommend contacting a mental health provider. Or if you're having any of these experiences and you really want to, you want to get some help for that, and you want to sort of experience brighter mood and more enjoyment. And again, contacting a mental health provider can be a really helpful thing these days. You could go for just a couple of sessions to get some support, or more long term if there's things that you want to work on in your life. And so hopefully that was a helpful explanation today in terms of depression and what people might experience, or what you might experience if you're experiencing depression. And again, we'll talk about some other common disorders as well. This is Dr. B with your Emotional Minutes. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment box. And we will see you next time.